Hello everybody, a couple hours ago the new trailer for End of Oak Street came out, so we're going to be talking about it. Let's check it out. Okay, we are on the trailer now, and I wanted to go through some of my favourite bits, some of the scenes that I think look interesting, and what I think could be in it. So firstly, let me quickly find it.
Aliens.
Shut up.
There. This is the father, he's talking about...
Lights from a helicopter.
Or a UFO. Aliens.
Shut up, Dad.
Because they start off the trailer with this very interesting scene where
the wind was blowing.
The windows are blowing, you have all of this effect, and they mention aliens. So I'm wondering if there is some sort of alien connection to it. But yeah, I think that could be interesting and sort of tie in with the time travel way, because it would be technology that we don't have, if that makes sense. But yes, give me a moment.
What's that?
Okay. This is the first bit that actually stuck out to me, because obviously it's the first extinct animal view, and we don't get too good of a view of it. But based on this tail here, if I can get it to look good, it's a bit difficult to see because it's quite far away. But if you look in closely, these look like phagomizers. Phagomizers are essentially the spikes that you had on the ends of Stegosaurus tails. And it would fit in, because I've heard a lot of the animals are going to be from the Jurassic, if not all of them, because that would be, of course, the time period that their neighbourhood has been set into. And based off of this, I think it matches. I mean, the Stegosaurus tails had these very distinct phagomizers on, which they would have used for breaking bones and attacking. Like, I believe there was an Allosaurus bone, which was discovered a while back with an actual phagomizer mark, which lined up very perfectly with an actual phagomizer. So we know that they used them as a defense, which would set them in strong with the Allosaurus, which we know are going to be in this film, which we will get to see later on. I have already watched this. I just wanted to go through some of my favorite bits. But yeah, this is an amazing scene. So let's continue, because it does continue for a little bit about the actual Stegosaurus segment.
We can't leave.
I think that our neighborhood...
There you go. Here's that. There's this really good scene. You can already see this looks like it's going to be a really good film, especially this shot with the cliff. But yeah, here I'm going to slow it down a little bit, because I think this could be really interesting. But you can see this. What I think is this. This looks like a leg, and then this looks like the swooped down tail, which we saw earlier, which isn't the most accurate when it comes to a Stegosaurus, if it is one. Because we now know that their tails would have gone upwards, and then due to the weight of the phagomizers and the bones at the end of the tail being very dense, the tail would have likely had been weighed down, but it still would have arched up at the beginning of the tail, which we didn't see earlier. But this, what I think I'm seeing here, is these look like plates moving, like that especially. That's like a very sharp light there. Like that looks like a plate moving through the forest. So I think that's what that's going to be. Alright, so here's the next scene that really showed out to me. She's saying here that she thinks the whole town has moved, which is a very interesting subject, because how are you going to move a whole town? Which again, I think could lead into that alien. But let's go back to the dinosaurs. Here, if we're looking at this man is going... We only get to see the shadow, sadly. We don't see anything in depth about it, as far as I know. Maybe it's the larger one that's later on, but I don't want to spoil too much. But what we can see here is that looks very, like, that's a very pointy face with quite a long thin neck. And the first thing that came to my mind when I saw that was Compsognathus or some kind of troodontid. So they would both fit very well into the time. Relatively small, about a meter long. I think it could match if that's a Compsognathus. But I really hope we get to see more in-depth things. But also, I'd like them to hide quite a bit of it. So when we get to the actual cinema, which I'm 100% going to go see, I would like to still be surprised by a lot of it. Right, this scene is the next kind of intense bit. This poor woman. Look at that mouth. That's like 80 degrees wide. This is definitely some kind of dromaeosaur, or... Obviously, it's a theropod dinosaur, but geez, that is a horrendous freeze frame. But no, there is definitely some kind of either dromaeosaur or troodontid, like the one that was just in the bin. But what we can see here is, if I can get it very dead on, I don't think here is... Oh, sorry, it's lagged a bit. I don't think there's a sickle claw here. They just look like 3 regular toes, which means it's likely not a dromaeosaur and could lean more into a troodontid, because troodontids and troodons had much smaller claws. But even then, that is like what Dino Guy said. You guys should check him out if you haven't seen it already. He has got... This is just a massive troodon, if it is one. And it's still quite a large dromaeosaur, because it's huge. But yeah, again, we've got this very long, spindly neck and the pointy head. So, I don't know. Right, we've then got this bit, where you don't see much of it. You can see it through the window, but... let me get this map. You can see, these are some very sharp teeth here. Like, it screams Troodon. Large Troodon, obviously, but it's very interesting. I'm really liking these stylized designs. They all seem to have almost like this bumpy, rigid look, which I like. It's not just the usual smooth or lizardy looking ones. It's very like, it's got its own style without being too inaccurate. I'm liking the feathers as well. But I would like to see more paleo accurate stuff in the future. But I do like a bit of stylized every now and then. I also meant to say this earlier with the Stegosaurid. Back here, if we look at the Stegosaur, or what I think is a Stegosaur, it's got that very bumpy, rigid texture. Like, all of these dinosaurs seem to have osteoderms or like spikes or a similar structure. But I don't know, we'll see. So here we get another really interesting scene. We have them looking up here. I don't know where they're looking up, and she looks like she's about to fall over. These look like kind of Gallimimus feet, or Ornithomimid, which I don't know if it would match too well. I can't off the top of my head remember the time period, but they do definitely scream that. And there are several of them almost stampeding over that car. If we cut here, though, they're looking up high. This is a tall thing, so I'm thinking that would be the Allosaur that's been foreboded and talked about. That's not the correct word, but it's been talked about recently about this film. So I think that's what they're looking up here. Might be looking up to something different, maybe a different kind of predator, or maybe the Stegosaur, because those are quite large, but don't know yet. Yeah, this stampede scene looks really good.
Gather supplies.
Grab anything you can.
Obviously, boarding up the house, that is dangerous dinosaurs. Alright, we now get this shot of them running out, and they're met with these almost Dimorphodon-looking animals, which they would be very early Jurassic, but they do look a bit like them. But they also have got the very pointy head, and like they seem to have like this circular end to their snout, which reminds me very much of like Ornithochirus, Coloborhynchus. But then again, those are in the early Cretaceous for the most part. I don't think they'd fit in too well. Maybe some earlier species, but I don't know. Some very, very cool species that we've got. It's very varied. It's not just specific species like boom, a Dimorphodon and stuff. It seems to be a bit more in depth. Either that, or it's just really stylized designs. So, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, if we look, they've got very long tails, which are just, obviously, early tails for a very specific group. These are some giant feet. They look like almost, I want to say sauropod. It looks like a quadruped. So it's either a ginormous stegosaur that we saw earlier, or some kind of sauropod, but I don't know yet. I'm really hoping we do get some sort of beautiful scene with a dinosaur rather than just all horror. But either way, I'm very excited. Alright, moving on to this scene. I have absolutely no clue what this animal could be. I mean, it's so quick that it's kind of unnerving. We get this very quick shot of this structure. So it's obviously a theropod of some kind. Or maybe something else that's really weird, but we can see it swing its arms into the car, which then gets thrown through the building. It looks like it's got some kind of feathering, So I don't really know what that could be, but it also seems to have a very broad head, which to me just doesn't scream anything like herbivorous with long claws, like a Therizinosaurus. Even though those are the Cretaceous, it just doesn't feel like that kind of animal to me. It's got some force, whatever it has, and of course, bonus, we have a kitty. This shot's really interesting to me. I'm thinking. I think, again, it can be linked to the aliens that they were talking about earlier. It just feels very on point to that. I mean, immediately, I don't really know about this. Yeah, I'm really interested in that they're kind of leaning into this, like, super technology, like, supernatural kind of stuff. It feels very unique. Like, it doesn't feel like it's been done before.
We're gonna survive.
Oh, that tail scene there. It's very spiked, so I wonder what it will look like. Like this, obviously, this is
God's
the
not gonna let us die
Allosaurus. We get to start seeing it here.
Church at Christmas, and now you're telling the kids God's looking out for.
This poor kid here. That is giant though. This is definitely the Allosaurus thing.
God's not gonna let us die here.
Greg, you only.
Okay, now we finally get to see the Allosaurus in its full glory. Let's zoom in on that. It does, objectively, we had a lot of people online, well, just a lot of people online overall, immediately upon seeing the last trailer, comparing this Allosaurus to, just based off of the head alone, to the Jurassic World Allosaurus, which, I'm not going to lie, it does look quite like it, but, again, these proportions, these spikes, like the almost like osteoderm kind of body, it doesn't scream Jurassic World aside from just the body. Let's see if I can. There you go. We have these really unique spines. I like the creative liberties they've been able to take for this. Again, that bumpy like osteoderm skin looks very interesting, but the head, yeah, definitely does look a bit Jurassic World-y, which I wish companies would stop copying other people because it doesn't always feel like that. But like it doesn't feel good. Like the dinosaurs, for example, they had a lot of backlash on the original Life on Our Planet with their Allosaurus design because they had obnoxiously large feet, and the dinosaurs, Allosaurus, struggled with that again. So I don't know. We'll see where it goes. Yeah, that is an epic scene though. Right, so that was the end of Oak Street trailer. I am super, super excited for this film. I mean, I think it's got so much potential. I'm really interested in sort of the horror kind of action-y side of it, and also the alien technology stuff, if that's where they're leading it. But I really do hope we get to see more species, while also remaining it kind of tucked away until we're actually able to go and watch the film for ourselves, which I 100% am going to go do, as I've already said. But if you guys haven't seen already, go watch the full trailer, because I have no doubt you will love it if you're on this account already. So, everybody, as always, subscribe for more, share to your friends to go notify them about this epic film, and of course, have a good day.